when did you guys go down to the Super Bowl? How big was the Super Bowl in 1983 at this point? Was it still fucking like massive?
To put it in perspective, Lyle and I, every game we ever played together, right after team meal, which was 8 a.m., you go to team meal, before the meal, you go to chapel and, you do all that. And they go through special teams and, R1, R2, the personnel kind of thing. And then Lyle and I would get in a cab and we'd go to the stadium every game.
No bus?
We never won the bus. Okay. We like to get there. I like to get there early.
Yeah.
I like to get there early. I get my shorts on. I get my thing on, and I'd go out and I'd run some 40s just to kind of get loose and stretch, and come back in and I'd go over my formation sheets. Lyle would get fully dressed except for the pads, lie down on the floor and go to sleep. And it said a lot about how different we were.
Yeah.
And he'd say to me, "Hey, what's that one formation that we can't figure out?" I said, "Dot." Like he didn't know formations. He didn't know. He just played.
Yeah.
And that was the difference between the two of us. But we took a cab every game, and the Super Bowl was no different. So we go through pregame meal, and you think about nowadays, and particularly after 9/11.
Yeah, that's when it all.
That's when it all really, really changed.
Helicopters and shit.
Concrete pillars a block around the stadium. You can't get anywhere near the stadium. So we get in a cab. We're driving to the stadium, and I think the guy spoke broken English who was in the cab driving us, and we get stuck in traffic. Just short of a mile from the stadium, and we're not getting there. And Lyle's trying to get the guy to go up on the curb, and that needle's in red, and I'm like, so we get out of the cab, and we're walking through the tailgaters 3/4 of a mile to the stadium through the parking lot with Lyle Alzado in a froth. So, that tells you how different it is now versus then.
Did everyone know you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Lyle.
You guys are huge.
Lyle at one point sparred Muhammad Ali. I mean, and if you're a Washington fan, you know who I am and you know who he is. And, if you're a Raider fan, you know who I am and you know who he is. So it's one or the two in the stadium parking lot. And to see his face as the clock was ticking down, here's this card-carrying bad man, you got to kill him kind of guy. And tears are just running down his face. I mean, the journey he had going from Denver to Cleveland over 13 years, I think it was 12 years, 13 years before he got to us. And for him to finally, make it. And I remember Marcus, ironically enough, on the counter, ironically enough, the big run was off a blown counter play.
Ooh.
It was a counter 67, and it got stuffed at the point of attack. Marcus reset, comes back, and he's blowing everyone away, and you see this bullet come from behind him. If you look at the film, it's Cliff Branch running close to by him. He, the gap between, it was like the kid from the Seahawks last week who picked the ball off 192 yards.
The big boy.
Yeah. You could see the wide receivers all kind of, they're gearing it down, but it's like a group of escorts.
Yeah.
And that's what Cliff was on Marcus's run.
Now
he ends up winning the MVP.
Lyle boxed.
He did a what was supposed to be a
charity.
It was kind of not a real exhibition, but to Lyle it was a little more than that.
Did he train?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah.
How did it look? How did he do?
This was before me. So I didn't really. I've seen footage of it, but knowing Lyle, he wanted to land something. Yeah,
It was at Mile High Stadium.
it's at Mile High Stadium.
Lyle the
Crazy.
Mile.
Yeah.